I feel like I'm always giving you guys some sort of explanation. You guys have no idea how this is rigged right now, okay? There's a whole setup happening that's not happening, and all the things. Nonetheless, oh, Lindsay still has my camera. All right. Hi guys, live from Rotterdam, Netherlands. I am here. And this is a great topic. I feel like all the topics are great topics if I'm honest, but who am I? But this topic is what's the professional way to decline a gig without lying? That is so, 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 so important because lying is whack, bro. It's so whack. Like creating all the things to like get out of something, it's just kind of whack. It's corny. So, I wanted to address this topic because I am a really integral person and I don't like to operate out of lies or anything false, if you will. So I feel like this is a topic that I think needs discussing, specifically as a professional singer, specifically as a professional creative in general, but specifically just maintaining your integrity while not compromising something, right? So, my name is Tanikka Charraé. I am a singer. I am a songwriter. I am a professional background singer. I'm a professional singer, professional songwriter, professional background singer, if you will. And I have an agency called the Background View where I link singers with elite artists. So, in addition to that service, I also like to educate vocalists or singers to become vocalists and remain that way. So that is part of the background view, and that's what we're doing right now. I would like for you all to be educated in just what it looks like to be a professional creative and to remain that way. And I think that a lot of times we get a bad stigma on creatives not knowing how to manage their money. So I want to help people become fiscally wise as well as becoming business savvy singers. So that's where I'm at with it. In addition to all of that, I I was gonna say something in my thought. It completely drifted away. I have a really cool view right now. I'm in Rotterdam, so I have a really cool view, and I'm like looking at the view, like, "Ooh, it's so deep over there," and I completely got distracted. But nonetheless, ooh, okay, because the way that my phone is set up on this, look, you can see my entire background, and it looks terrible, way more terrible than what it is. But all it is like lip balm. That's that right there. My backpack and my credentials, but it looks bad. Either way, so I'll just sit in front of it. Oh, oh no, oh no, oh God. I don't even, oof, gosh, I don't even know. Because the way all of this is so jinky right now, guys. Okay, I'm gonna back up and see if I can like make it less jinky, but nonetheless. Oh, all right, there we go. Anyway, so I wanted to discuss what it looked like declining something without lying because I think that people have gotten so comfortable with lying. They've gotten so comfortable with creating some sort of ridiculous narrative and not telling the truth. And I think that people are missing the professionalism. It's really important to be professional. It's really important to be honest because what this music industry is built on is relationships. So when people find out that you're lying, that kind of compromises the relationship. So what is that like? That's like say you're in a romantic relationship and you're dating a guy. I'm a girl, so I'm dating a guy. And I'm dating this guy and he's like amazing, right? And then he just all of a sudden starts lying and then I find out he's lying. I'm like, bruh, I don't want nothing to do with you. The same is true. The same is true for singing, right? The same is true in the music industry. Like it becomes true. I mean, people lie all the time, so some people can forgive it or give you grace on it. But it's like, why do you have to be like everybody else in lying when you could just tell the truth? And I think that this is a thing, you know? Oh no. Oh no. because my phone is dying. Okay. Oh my gosh, my cousin is texting me. I just can't. Okay, let's just pray. We can just get this together. Everyone texts me when I jump on here, and it's like, bro, don't you guys know that I'm like streaming right now? They don't know, nor do they care. Ugh. Okay, that's a better view. Oh man. Ugh. Sorry guys, I'm coming. I'm coming. I promise. Oh my goodness, this is so terrible. It's hard out here. It is. I said it's hard out here for a pimp. I'm nobody's pimp at all, actually. So there's that. Let's see if we got like. Okay, that's all I cared about was the. My cousin is texting me because my uncle is doing the most. Look, he doing the most by being sick. So she's like, "Oh my gosh." Ooh, that is. Look, that's my lighting situation. How did I turn that? Okay, there it goes. Sorry, my apologies. It's just a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. Okay, I think I'm good. My mic is really loud right now. Okay, I think I've gotten it together. Sorry, guys. I've only been doing this for 2 weeks, and at this point, I'm still not a professional. All right, so let's just jump into it, okay? What is the professional way to decline a gig without lying? I am very much an integral person, and I want you all to be integral people as well. I don't want you being like, oh my gosh, I got another gig. I can't do that gig. Or, oh my goodness, like, that's so crazy. Like, the way my schedule is set up, I'm doing something, 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 something. Like, I just think that that's kind of whack. I think you get in the habit of leaning on crutches, which is dishonesty, and I think that you also get in the habit of um, running your business dishonestly, like when you don't want to do something. And here's the third reason, which is actually probably the most, well, I won't say it's the most important because dishonesty is super important. But I think that the third thing is equally as important, which is you become comfortable in not telling people your worth. Yep, I said it. And it's not even like, oh, I'm worth this, so I'm about to be the. It's not even that. It's just kind of like, people don't get in the habit of understanding why you're declining something or anything. And so they continue to bring things to you that you may have exceeded that level. And that in essence it sucks. Like it's just not, you know what I mean? So I wanted to discuss this. Okay, one of the points I have is maybe the gig is not paying enough or it's something that you want to protect your brand from. So those are two reasons that you wouldn't take a gig, right? You'd be like, all right, it's not paying enough for me. That's a really solid reason to not take a gig. Or another thing, which is also super, and I would even say equally as important, is it has nothing to do with my brand. Like it doesn't make sense, like in terms of what it is that I do and what it is that I am trying to do. So I'm not really, I'm not into it. And I think that there's nothing wrong with that because if we take the latter, right? Okay, it doesn't really coincide with my brand, then people are kind of like, well, I'm gonna stop hitting her up about this because it doesn't make sense. You don't want, it's not a matter of being like, oh, I just want to stay open, or I don't want to hurt their feelings. But if it has nothing to do with your brand, then whose feelings are being hurt? Like, this has nothing to do with me. If somebody's hitting me up about something about Broadway, right, and I'm an R&B singer, or I'm a vocal producer, or I'm a background vocalist, like, until I say, hey, I want to delve into um you know, Broadway, that's just not the avenue that I'm in. So it doesn't coincide with my brand. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I think that people get like, oh, I don't wanna, 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 I don't wanna, I don't wanna, I don't wanna, I don't wanna. And it's like, bro, that ain't got nothing to do with Nan. You know what I'm saying? So, um, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with keeping those avenues open. And maybe you'll change your mind, and that's fine. You know that person, so you can make that contact. But in the interim, yikes. Okay, in the interim, if I am specifically doing R&B right now, and I've been doing R&B, like, I'm wasting your breath and my breath and all the breath. Now, if we were doing a collab that makes sense on across genre, like, that's a different thing. And it doesn't mean that you're burning that bridge. Somebody might come to you and be like, all right, look, I know that you're in this, but Broadway is offering this and they want to do an R&B style. Cool. That's what's up. You're keeping me in your memory bank about that. But if you're like, Tanika, I want you to play the Cowardly Lion for the Wiz, what kind of a thing? You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that's important. That's important. You don't want to keep getting hit up about a bunch of gigs that you aren't even or would never entertain. It's just that. hmm And then the other side of that is, somebody wants to pay you something that you you're like, wait, what? No. So say somebody wants you to come and do a workshop for background vocalist. And they're like, yeah, for said workshop, we're going to pay you um $50. It's 2 days, but we're going to pay you $50. And you're like, are you kidding me? What did I tell y'all? I said that one of the most crucial things that you have to really protect and be careful of and really like monetize is your time. So $50 for 2 days? It's no, ain't it? And I mean, maybe you feel it in the pit of your heart to be like, oh yes, I want to contribute to this in this way, and it's super crucial and it's major, and this is what I want to do. That's awesome. However, if it exceeds that, and it's like, okay, this just isn't worth my time, then it just means that they can't afford you in the space that they're trying to afford you in. $50 for 2 days? No. To come conduct a workshop or to it's not worth it. And I think that you kind of cheapen your value when you lie. Like, so, they don't really know. You're not saying out front, like, well, I mean, I'm saying this in layman's terms. I'm not saying that this is how you do it, but you're not saying in essence like, I'm just not in that bracket anymore of payment. So in their brains, they're just kind of like, I don't get it. I don't see what the problem is, because they don't understand what type of caliber artist they're dealing with, And I think that's important. I think that is very, very crucial to spell out. So, you want to be honest, because if you're not honest, they just may think it's like a scheduling conflict, and they'll keep reaching out with the same price, the same rate, the same things. And it'll get frustrating to you, yet at the same time, for them, when you keep declining, 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 um, with all these lies, they're just thinking, oh, she's just busy. She's just such and such. And they don't even know how to really address you or where you are and what you're dealing with. So I think it's really important to be honest. You obviously always want to be gracious and explain the value of your time and what you have put into your craft. Um, and then the other thing I have down here is don't mention celebrity gigs or what you do or every gig, because every gig is important, and that's just real. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to, if somebody's calling you to sing at a museum, right, for 20 minutes, that's equally as important as going on tour, because if you really genuinely appreciate your craft and you're doing this because it's like, oh, this is what I do, and blah 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 blah, like, it's important. If you're singing for a funeral, that's important as well. Somebody, excuse me, lost a loved one, and they're picking on you, not picking on, but they're requesting you to come sing this song and they want you to, kill the game and, bring out all these emotions for their loved one, like that's a big responsibility. And you don't want to treat that just as any, oh, I'm not singing for this funeral, da, 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 because people are people and you want to treat people fairly and you want to treat them equal. Now, if really don't necessarily enjoy doing funerals, or if you're just kind of like, I've reached a space in my career where I'm kind of done singing funerals, like that's cool. But these are ways that you make money. These are ways that you are known for what it is that you do. And these are just important avenues that you don't want to just knock for the sake of knocking. Because, if Puffy would have called y'all for Kim Porter's funeral to come sing for her funeral, mad people would have signed up. So it's just important to recognize that these are gigs, you know, and they all do the same thing. Oh, guys, I'm so tired. I'm so sorry. I'm 6 hours ahead. I'm just mad tired, but I'm about to go to sleep in a minute. With that being said, um, there are several ways that you can decline nicely without seeming like a diva. What is a diva? A diva is like, oh, this is beneath me. Having that air and that attitude of like, I don't do that, or I don't do that anymore. And I think that it's important to be gracious and it's important to be humble, because the moment you get all the way up to the top, you can get all the way down to the bottom. And I mean, that's just kind of a thing. And you want to ensure that you don't stay at the bottom, or get to the bottom rather, and stay there. You want to understand that people are important, and you also want to understand that the music industry is important, and it's really about relationships, and it's really about connecting with folks that help perpetuate the cycle. Like, I don't know any other way to say it. You know what I'm saying? So let's just explore some ways that you can decline something without sounding like a jerk and without lying. The first way, okay, we're talking about pay, right? One of the first things that I do when we are discussing pay is and I ask right out. And you got to remember, you are a business and you are a singing business. So people should not take this personal, okay? They should understand your position. They should understand where you are, because you are a professional singer. You're not doing this as a hobby. You're doing this professionally. So asking someone, what is the budget, should not offend someone. It just shouldn't, because they understand that this is what you do and this is what you do professionally. So saying, oh, okay, you have the event on the 22nd. Okay, what's the budget? So professional, so directly to the point. And at the same time, you are giving an expectancy of pay. Nothing wrong with that. For the funeral side of that, or for like events where it's like education and stuff like that, you ask, what's the honorarium? What is the honorarium? And they say, oh, okay, well, it's this. The honorarium tells you, okay, here's the funeral. Okay, what's the honorarium? Oh, the honorarium is $200. We just want you to sing 2 songs. So when you break that down in layman's terms, you say, okay, $100 a song. And then you got to think about, do I know these songs? If you know these songs, it's literally $100 a song. Say hypothetically, I'm gonna give the max. Each song is 5 minutes. You're literally making $200 for 10 minutes. You know, if you don't and you have to learn a song, well, you're making $200, but you need to see what it takes. I'm telling you, go back to that formula and figure out what it takes to learn the song, what it takes to execute the song well. Is it worth this time? $200 is cake. Like, $200 for 10 minutes is nothing, right? So, for all the folks that want to decline something that you can make something out of, I'm trying to tell you, kind of don't, because you can make it. You can make this bread like for easy money, just because it may not line up with, your face on billboard. Like, let's look at it for what it is, and let's get it. Again, not making everything about money, but at the same time, this is something that you can do, make money off of, and keep your skills sharp. So first thing you want to ask, for people throwing events, funerals, weddings, um, black parties, or like inauguration. What? That is not a word. Inaugurating ceremonies. What is the budget? They will not be offended by that because it's professional. Okay, what's the budget? What's the budget means I'm expecting to be paid. So what are you planning to pay me? Nothing wrong with that. Or what is the honorarium? That is the other name that it typically goes with funerals, but what is the honorarium? Let me know. What is it? What we doing? Okay. Cool. So that's the easy way to find out something. I had someone ask me the other day, "Hey, we got this what was it? It was a I don't know, it was some show, and Jadakiss was on it, and they were like, "Yeah, we want you to open. We're picking like local artists and blah blah blah." Oh, that sounds amazing. What's the budget? Was the first thing I asked. What's the budget? Oh, there's no budget because this is kind of like for the local artists and exposure and da 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 da. Da. Now, thankfully, not I won't say thankfully, but I did have another gig scheduled for that day. However, if I did it and I did not want to do said gig because I just felt like that exposure wasn't paying out what it was worth, we can move past to our next phase. Is This is a really good one. I really advise you taking notes. Oh, well, look, everybody's texting me right now. But you could say something along the lines of, now I didn't say this because this was not the truth for me, like it didn't apply to me. However, because I had a show, I genuinely had a show. But however, if I did not have a show, it would have been something along the lines of, well, thank you so much for your consideration for this. I really appreciate you thinking about me. Just right now, I am in the midst of, now this can go one of two ways. You can say, especially if you're working on a project, I am devoting a lot of my energy and attention to this project right now, and I don't want to be distracted by any outside gigs. Y'all hear how professional it is? Has nothing to do with nothing. It means keep me on your radar, but right now I'm too busy. Keep me on your radar, but right now I can't do it. Keep me on your radar, but right now, that's not this. I'm not in the space of performing. The flip of that is, because it was free, they weren't looking for anything. The flip of that you can say is, oh, thank you so much for your consideration. I really appreciate you keeping me in mind. But right now, I'm only taking gigs are, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm only taking paying gigs. You can say it like that. Um, Thank you so much for keeping me on your radar. I really appreciate you even thinking about me and considering me. Right now, I'm just in a position where I'm only taking gigs that are paying. I'm only taking paid gigs. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. Because at the end of the day, people have to understand, like, oh, okay, well, she wants actual monetary payment, and we don't have monetary payment for her right now, but it doesn't mean that she's not open in the future when we do have a budget where there is some sort of monetary payment. And she's not coming for us. She's just saying, like, I mean, we're not offering her any kind of payment. You know what I'm saying? Like, so there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I can't be mad at that because right now she's on her grind. Right now she's on her hustle. Hey, thank you so much for the consideration. I really appreciate you keeping me on your radar. You can keep me on the radar in the future, but right now I'm only taking gigs, paying gigs. Nothing wrong with that. And if someone takes that personal, that's on them. Like, it ain't got nothing to do with you. It's just kind of like, oh, okay, well. All right, cool. Thank you. And that's it. You hear me? That's it. Now, I gave you two things to say, two things to back it on up like a U-Haul truck. If people want to subscribe to you and they're not meeting your demands per se. Another one would be if they're telling you that this is the pay, but the pay is too low. You've asked, what's the budget? And they say, hey, we want you to do 5 songs. We need you there on site for 5 hours. And we're going to pay you $50. Who you paying $50? I don't know. You just say, oh, thank you so much for the consideration. Um, my computer keeps going out. Thank you so much for the consideration. I really appreciate you keeping me on the radar. Now, the reason I'm leading with that is because you want people to keep you on their radar. You really do. And you want them to know that you appreciate them keeping you on their radar. And then you just say what it is, right? So say they say $50, okay? You just respond with, thank you so much for reaching out and keeping me on your radar. My fee for 5 hours at minimum is $500. $5,000, $1,500, whatever your fee is. But right now in this space, you are conveying what it is your fee actually is. Because here's the thing. They're not saying that they can't pay you this. They're saying this is what they want to pay you. And going back to, are you a professional singer or you are a hobby singer? In the hobby singer, what we learned is that the other artists were establishing the rate for the singer. And here you have a rate, right? So when you have a rate, you lead with that. Okay, well, we want to pay you $50. Da, 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 da. Thank you so much for keeping me on your radar. I really, truly appreciate the fact that you've even reached out to me. This sounds like such an exciting event. Now, fluff it up, okay? Fluff it up. Fluff it. And the reason why you want to fluff it, and it's not like shade, it literally is like, oh my gosh, this sounds like such a cool event. Meaning, I'm not shutting you guys down. You guys just can't afford me with those numbers. You could if you want to, maybe. But this sounds like something I would be willing to participate in had you come with the right numbers. So you say something along the lines of like, oh my goodness, thank you so much for keeping me on your radar. Thank you so much for even considering me. This is such an honor. This event sounds amazing. My fee, however, for 5 hours to do hosting, or my fee for 5 hours to be on site is about $1,500. If you're able to meet that, that's amazing. If not, let's figure out in the future a future event that we can collaborate on and make an impact, because what you're doing is you're not shutting them down. You're not saying, oh my gosh, you could never afford me. Like, you're not doing all of those things that are subtle and nasty that a lot of people do. What you're saying is that for this one, if that's your budget, the $50, I can't bend on that. However, in the future, when you have a bigger budget, please do not take me off your radar. I am completely game and down to do it. And that's it. Like, people cannot take offense to that. If I were to reach out to, I don't know, say some PR company right now, and I say, hey guys, I would love to work with y'all. I got $50 with your name on it. They would say, oh, thank you. We're so excited to want to work with you as well. However, our starting rate is $1,000 per month. They're establishing their rate. They're not shutting you down. They're actually telling you, if you could come up with this bread, yo, we out. If you can't, we're not. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. And in addition to all the stuff that I said, you're being gracious. You're letting people know what your fee is. You're not shutting them down. You're remaining open. And then at the same time, they understand that they cannot set your rate. So it's really important to turn people down with honesty, because at this point, you tell people, oh my gosh, it's so crazy. I got another gig that day. They're going to think that you cost $50 for 5 hours, as opposed to being like, ooh, Tanika's $1,500. So, I really want to get her. I'm not about to approach her with no $50. That's not her rate. That's not what she costs. That's not what she's looking for. But I want to work with her, and she's cool, and she seems really, really cool. And that's what's up. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? Wow, my mic is doing the most. If you guys could see this jinky setup, y'all would be like, what in the... Either way, honesty is the best policy. And it's the best policy because people know what to expect, and they know what to look for, and they know, okay, this is not a $50 singer. This is a $1,500 singer. This is a $3,500 singer. This is a $5,000 singer. So I got to get my weight up if I want her to do any of my hosting or my shows or my anything. And it sets you up, because now you're not getting a bunch of BS calls. You're not getting whack calls. You're not getting calls of things that don't pan out or won't pan out. And you're not getting like, what's the word that they call it? You're not, I don't want to say spam per se, but you're not getting spammed. You're not getting calls from folks that are like, yeah, girl, I just want... They at least know your rate. They at least know, I can't play with her because she ain't trying it. She is not doing the most. Did y'all hear that? Oh my gosh, that was a great ass whistle. But no, you're setting yourself up for a win, you know? I think that a lot of people think that they have to lie because they're hurting people's feelings. But if we go back to operating as a professional singer and operating as a business, there's no feelings involved. I mean, obviously there's feelings involved, but you're not making it about feelings. You're not like making it about this thing that's weird and uncomfortable and awkward. You're making it about business. Like if I were to reach out to Pepsi right now and say, hey, Pepsi, I want you to sponsor my next event. And they go, yeah, we're not sponsoring any events right now with folks that are less than 5,000 people, blah, 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 blah. I can't take that personal. That is literally their standard. So I can't be like, Pepsi, they... I can't do that. Pepsi is like, bruh, this is how we operate. The same is true for you. So you don't have to like detach your feelings. It could be your next door neighbor's niece who wants you to come sing at her wedding, but the truth is that you're a business. You have a rate for that amount of time, and she can't take that personal. I mean, she could, but at the end of the day, it's kind of like, for what? This is what I do. I'm not taking it personal when the doctor is like, hey, I have to bill your insurance this amount of money because I'm kind of a doctor and this is how it has to go down. No, I just go, I'm about to pay these co-pays. That's stupid. And keep it pushing. So you don't have to lie. You don't have to. I promise you, lying is more of a deficit than not. Because when you're lying, you can't even get to the truth. You're dragging people, you're leading them on. You're not even getting to the bottom line. And you want to get to the bottom line because you are a profession, you are a business, you are a singer as a business, and being that, it's just kind of like, you want people to know exactly what it is that they're getting into. You don't want them to guess. You don't want them to wing it. It's like you tell somebody for 2 years that's like, oh, yo, we got this gig for you for $50. Oh, what's crazy, like I have a whole nother gig. And so in essence, they think that you're attainable at $50. You know what I'm saying? So it's just kind of like, you might as well keep it a buck with them and let them know, like, bro, they ain't even. I just don't get down like that. Who was that? Neo. I don't get down like that. No, you don't get down like that. So just tell them, and it's not offensive. It's just like, oh, okay, they're not wasting your time. You're not wasting their time, and there's somebody out there that is willing to pay your rate. Period. You see what I'm saying? Like somebody is like willing to be like, oh, $1,500. Okay, cool. That's I get it. That's what I budgeted. I budgeted 2 grand. So cool. Like you are missing out by being dishonest, and it's taking so much longer to actually get to the truth by leading people on and lying to them when you could just be like, oh, okay, these are my rates, this is what it is. And it's just better and it's easier. And you're almost holding on to these little $50 gigs. Oh, maybe one day I might need this little $50 gig. You're still kind of putting yourself in the I'm a hobby singer lane, and you don't have to. And that's what you don't want to do. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. No, you don't have to lie. I'm like, what is that back there? That's my little earring bag. My little accessory bag. Um, so yeah, it's really important to be honest. And it's really important to be honest because you are a business. You don't want to waste your time. What did I tell you? Time, bro, is something you cannot get back. So why would I want to waste it on pretending like I fall into your realm of singers? Or and it's not, and it doesn't mean that people will ask you out. Even if they do ask you out, you probably want to be asked out, because if they only paying $50 for this 5 hour, 6 hour, 10 hour gig, you don't want that. You just don't. So it's easier to be honest, and it doesn't mean you have to be a jerk like, oof, you can't afford me. Like you don't have to be a jerk. I just gave you guys professional ways on how to decline without it being this thing that you're a diva or this. And even if they perceive you as a diva, they wanted to be offended because they only wanted to pay $50. And guess what? That's all right. That's on you. So I hope you got something from this. It just pays to be honest. And the flip of paying to be honest is that like all that stuff always comes to the light. Oh my gosh, I have another gig that day. I totally can't do the gig. Like all of that stuff comes to the front. Whether you were at somebody else's gig or doing something else, and you being filmed and people see you and they're just like, I thought you had another gig. You know what I'm saying? And that honestly makes you look way worse than not. Or whether they hear somebody else and you're like, oh, I got a gig with such and such. And such and such. It's like, they were like, oh my gosh, I heard, I really wanted to get Tanika on this gig, but I heard she had a gig. Y'all had a gig, right? Y'all had something coming up. We had no gig on that day. It just makes you look crazy. And I really believe that dishonesty makes you look cowardice. It makes you look a coward. It makes you look like, because kids be lying. You know what I'm saying? So you just don't want to put yourself in that position. You just kind of want to be like, you know, what's the best way I can walk out of this unscathed, you know? And that typically is honesty, because you don't have to think about the lie. You don't have to think about the dates. Oh, what day did I say? Oh, what? I don't know. What did I? You're just kind of like, okay, this is what it is. And then more important than that, it's just that you are establishing your rate. Okay, I know as much as I love Tanika, like I can't reach out to her for these 5 hours for anything less than $1,500. I can't reach out to her for these 5 hours for anything less than $5,000. I can't reach out to her for, these 5 hours for anything less than $10,000. Okay, note to self. And it doesn't take you off the market per se. It just means like when I get a bigger budget, I'm holler at her. I'm holler at my girl. But until then, it's just kind of like doesn't seem that I can afford you right now in this moment. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think that we get so concerned with how people think and how they feel, as well as being like, oh, I don't want to seem like I'm unattainable and I'm unaffordable. But when you operate as a business, let me tell you something. Do you really think Fendi cares that you can't afford them? They say, okay, you just not my people. I pick Fendi because it's my favorite designer. But you think that Fendi is literally like, I don't want them to think that they can't afford me. They don't care. They're like, you can't afford me. Get me to the people who can. And that's just what it is. Like, it doesn't have to be a thing. It doesn't have to be nasty. It doesn't have to be mean. It doesn't have to be any of those other things. It just has to be the truth. And when you operate in the truth, it just kind of is what it is. And people can't approach you with anything. Okay, that's all I got. From the Rotterdam, live from Rotterdam. I hope that you got something from this. How to decline folks without lying. It's really important. You really, really, really want to establish this habit because it sets you up well. Because now people aren't going to just hit you up for any old thing and any old stupid thing. And at the same time, it doesn't waste your time, and it keeps relationships open and well. What can somebody say about you? If they find out that you're lying, they're like, "Ooh, she a liar, he a liar." But if they find out your fee, it's just like, "Ooh, I just can't afford them." There's nothing bad in that. There's houses out there that you can't necessarily afford. You love them. They're great. You keep them on your radar. But I just can't afford them. I can't afford to live there right now. Versus somebody lied to you about the price. You get all the way to the table and they're like, oh, by the way, surprise, this is a $500,000 house. And you're like, wait, what? I can't afford that. Can't nobody, what? Who's doing that? So it really behooves you to be honest. It's really important that you establish honesty and just being an integral business savvy singer. Because when you're not, I smell a setup. You know what I'm saying? So I hope that this helped. Go back, please watch this again. Go back, write down some of these responses so that you can actually respond to professionals and other folks with a really professional response that they go, okay, I can still keep her on my radar. I just can't afford her right now. Or I'm going to still keep her on my radar and she's so worth it. We're going to increase the budget for her. You know what I'm saying? It's important. You want to do that. Trust me. I promise you. So I'm going to go take a nap because I'm super sleepy and I have a show tonight. But I hope this helped. If it has helped, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. In addition to forward to all of your creative friends, specifically your singers and your musicians. But a lot of my content is for creative people. It's for being able to conduct business as a creative and being able to remain in business as a creative. So please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, as well as share. Okay. All right. I hope you all have an amazing day.